Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will talk about the top 10 cult classic movies. 10. Office Space. You never forget the first time you see a printer get murdered. Office Space, much like the other Mike Judge movie on this list, Idiocracy, was partially ignored upon its release because it was too ahead of its time. Through protagonist Peter, the movie pinpoints the growing ennui of a modern society plagued by technology and desk jobs. Yet it was made 8 years before the iPhone came out. It's a humbly made film that became a generational text. Its unflinching honesty is part of the reason why. The other part is that it's just endlessly quotable. Two chicks at the same time, Leo Face, Michael Bolton, and in a word, ah yeah, Greta Darrow. 9. Heathers. The question of, do you think the movie could be made today is always kind of amusing. Heathers screenwriter Daniel Waters told Glamour about his flirty and murderous 1989 high school film. Because it's not like it could really be made then either. It was kind of outrageous for its time. Indeed, when Heathers, an extra dark comedy that featured a red scrunchie and Christian Slater's eyebrows and wove together the auras of both John Hughes and John Waters, debuted in theaters, it was fucked gently with a chainsaw, so to speak, earning barely over $1 million. But with its mix of startling crime scenes, rude social commentary, big fits, and mean girls, the film took off once it hit VHS. How very. Elements of the movie, already unsettling at the time, have not improved with age, from its casual homophobia to its foreshadowing of today's acts of school violence. And yet there's an overarching timelessness to its 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐞 message that makes much of the movie still resonate. Well, I guess I picked the wrong time to be a human being, says Winona Ryder's character, a rare non-Heather named Veronica, sarcastically. But is there ever really a right time? Baker. 8. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Only inexperienced filmmakers would have had the audacity to try to make a medieval epic on a budget of £200,000, much of it chipped in by British rock stars in search of tax breaks. The Monty Python Terrys, Gilliam and Jones were rookie directors when they made Holy Grail, and it shows. So due to the budget constraints that led to the troupe adopting clopping coconuts instead of horses, a borrowed bloody rabbit, and an arrest scene that replaced a pricey big battle. Despite the salaries slashed and corners cut, the project ran out of money, forcing the Pythons to finish the film however they could. One establishing shot was achieved by holding up a page ripped from a book with an out-of-frame candle conferring a shimmering haze. But the budget cuts were just flesh wounds, and the obvious concessions to the seat-of-the-pants production process only enhanced the absurdity of the script. Holy Grail had its detractors when it was released, but the inspired silliness of the shrubbery-craving Knights of Me, the Bridge of Death exchange about the airspeed of swallows, the indefatigable Black Knight, and a dozen other brilliant bits soon cemented its status as a contender for comedy GOAT. Lineberg. 7. Eraserhead. Before David Lynch had a sizable following for his work and could coral ascendant movie stars, he made Eraserhead. A film scraped together with funding from the American Film Institute when Lynch was a student, and after that money ran out, he took a paper route for the Wall Street Journal. Eraserhead is as bizarre as it is inscrutable. Taking place in some unnamed industrial hellscape, Lynch's first feature-length film concerns a meek label printer named Henry Spencer, Jack Nance, whose girlfriend gives birth to a deformed infant that looks like a cross between E.T. and a monitor lizard. Anyone hoping to find answers in Lynch's movie is fighting a losing battle. Instead, Eraserhead is best appreciated as a disturbingly assured debut whose traces can be found in the rest of the author's oeuvre. From the ambient sound design to the uncompromising body horror to its creeping sense of dread, Eraserhead is pure, unfiltered Lynch, and the ultimate cult film. Surrey. Styx, Wet Hot American Summer. It's almost like someone from 2015 made a list of all the most famous comic actors and then put them in a movie that came out more than a decade earlier. From Paul Rudd to Amy Poehler to Bradley Cooper to Elizabeth Banks, David Wayne's Wet Hot American Summer is loaded. How was this not the biggest movie of 2001? Well, part of the reason why is that it struggled to find a distributor and was released in less than 30 cities. Hollywood didn't like the talking can of peas, I guess, but sometimes Hollywood makes bad choices. 5. Donnie Darko. Has any movie ever sparked more dorm room debates? Donnie Darko's labyrinthine plot deals with the philosophy of time travel, has strong religious overtones, and is anchored by a Holden Caulfield-type protagonist, a horny anti-hero who's smarter than the adults around him, but still has to figure things out for himself. In other words, it's perfect for 18 to 22-year-olds who love to hear themselves think out loud. Donnie Darko rewards multiple viewings, and even though writer-director Richard Kelly has gone to great lengths to over-explain the plot in the 20 years since its release, no two fans have exactly the same theory as to what it all means, man. Trust me, I know, while attending college in the 2000s, I was briefly locked in a weeks-long back and forth with another student in which we both scribbled our thoughts on the film on a dry erase board in the campus commuter lounge. We both thought Donnie was supposed to be a Christ-like figure, but couldn't agree on much else. We never actually met, and this isn't embarrassing at all to admit. My colleague 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐿 wrote an excellent oral history on Donnie Darko for its 20th anniversary last week that gets into the many things that make the film great, from the music to the acting, to Kelly's script, to the painstaking attempts to make the time travel stuff all work, to how it overcame its pitiful box office showing to become a cult classic. But even without that history, Donnie Darko is a special movie for people of a certain age. The kind of film that makes you feel smarter than the adults around you, even if you still have to figure things out for yourself. Sales. 4. This is Spinal Tap. Again, I could do this all day. Until the day I die, I will do this all day. This is Spinal Tap, starring the immortal and armadillo-trousered trio of Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer, all of whom co-wrote alongside ___ ball-cap director Rob Reiner, is the silliest and stupidest and truest rock and roll movie ever made, and very arguably the funniest movie ever made, full stop. Every last line is quotable enough to be carved into granite. It is a masterpiece in D minor, the saddest of all keys. It is a majestic tidal wave of lukewarm water. There is none more black. It is a monolith worthy of, yes, Stonehenge. Yes, I'm still doing this. No, I'll never stop. Arvilla. 3. Dazed and Confused. I was way too young to appreciate Dazed and Confused when it came out, and I saw it late enough that my introduction to the film was through jokes about how two-time Cy Young winner Tim Lincecum looked a little like Mitch Kramer. In the intervening 15 or so years, David Wooderson had been elevated to near Burgundarian levels of movie quotability, and about two-thirds of its teen cast had gone on to significant careers in TV and film. Not just Matthew McConaughey and Ben Affleck, but Milla Jovovich, Cole Hauser, Parker Posey, Joey Lauren Adams, Anthony Rapp, and Adam Goldberg. By the time I was in college, Dazed and Confused was like a high school yearbook for every famous person from the early 2000s. 2. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Of course, the friend who first showed me the Rocky Horror Picture Show was the youngest of 5. It's why that videotape with those big red glossy lips on its box was floating around her house's grody, shag-rugged den in the first place. It's maybe also why her mom never seemed to care that two tweens were in total thrall to a tantalizing and weird-as-hell movie described by Roger Ebert as a horror rock transvestite camp omnisexual musical parody. There was murder by pickaxe and the deflowering of Susan Sarandon and catchy, horny tunes. And my memory forever links all of it to that wonderfully lawless home. 1. The Big Lebowski. Fun fact. The first time I saw The Big Lebowski, my parents had rented it sight unseen for a family movie night with my brother, then 8, and me, then 14. They were then subjected to weeks of their children crowing, "Shut the fuck up, Dunny," and "Shomer fucking Shabos" around the house. There was a time when not everyone knew what this movie was. That seems hard to believe now. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.